Hi guys. I've been asked a lot recently about how to make a notebook template. I thought it was kind of common knowledge, but apparently not. I have an example here. So this is one I made in a couple hours. I just got bored after my last season, or my last season for now. So I guess I'll walk you guys through how to make one because a lot of people are asking, and I'm kind of getting bored of sending it over and over again. Start a blank presentation. First thing to do is change the size, so that's file, page setup. I try to do A4, which is width 21, height 29.7 centimeters. Americans go do what you want, but this is what I've seen a lot used, and this is what I used. So we have that set up. We're going to start by just completely deleting the slide. The first thing we do is we go to edit theme from slide, and I'm going to start by deleting all of these. Actually, maybe I'll leave blank. These are all going to disappear, and this I'm going to choose. I'm going to set the font I want, so I use Montserrat for my Nova notebook. That's what I'll use for this, I think. So let's go with that, and I'll make the titles Montserrat black. Yeah, this doesn't really matter too much. And then this, I think I would recommend smaller font size than what I did. I did 14, but now in retrospective, that's really big. So I'm gonna say maybe 10. Maybe actually let's do 12 today. Then we can leave that. So then we go into our blank slide. I'm going to rename this to just one, because I reuse the same thing mostly over and over. And the way I want mine set up, I'm basically going to do something similar to this, which is quite similar to my notebook itself. So I'm just going to teach you how to make this. So we're in this theme builder. We're going to make a shape here. And the first section we're going to do is other, which I'm going to do, say, grey. So I'll center that. I'll make sure that's the full size, transparent, and I'm going to put a boundary of that just because I feel like that would look good. So that's other. I'm going to type that in and bold that. Before I forget, I'm going to go back here, and I like having a box around all my slides. Some people don't, but I think it just means that the edges look better. So I'm going to set that to transparent and have that as a 2 pixel boundary around the edge. Let's get that lined. Yep. The other one. Okay. I'm going to send this to the back. I see that this isn't lined here either. Yeah, so that's done. I also see that this page number thing, some people like to use the default page numbers. I don't, because that way I can not include my title slide, not include my table of contents, which means if I add a new table of contents page, I don't need to redo every page number in the table of contents, which can be quite annoying. Back to this. I'm going to make a second box, but this time I'm going to use a title placeholder. Using the title placeholder is actually pretty useful when you're doing this, because when you use the title one, when you go to link your slides, if the text is the same as the title in your table of contents, it will always sync properly. And like if you just have the right text, it should be able to automatically identify that and do that for you. So right now I'm just adding the same border around, making sure that's the right size. I want that to be centered like that and that. And yeah, simple as that. Then let's see how I did in this one. I had it the same color. You can choose how you want to do that. I might say, let's go with this one as a slightly darker grey. Let's go with that. And then this as this lighter grey, third one. And then for the bottom bar, which I did here, I have it split into 3 bits, which is page number, names, and the date. I know, okay, in this format it looks a bit weird, but if I put in a day like By the way, British people do what date, month, year. If you're American, just switch that. It doesn't really matter that much. But let's go 1st of January 2026 if it's in fine. So just ignore the fact that when you have the letters in, it goes over. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna copy this box, but this time I'm going to leave this blank. I'm realizing that that's not aligned properly. There you go, that's fixed. I don't want this either. So now that I have this, I'm going to add a body text placeholder and just put that there. Ignore the text there again, it's annoying, but it doesn't really matter that much. There. So that would be for my date. Normally people can identify what a date is, so you don't have to label it like I did in my Nova notebook. But if you want to label it, that's your choice. Same thing with names. Names is pretty easy to recognize, but if you want to have something separate for signatures and names, that's your choice again. If you want to do that, it's great. I don't personally, and I won't if I do VEX again. I mean, I did last year, but it's not really needed because often the person doing the notebooking is the person who did the work. Then for page, I will, however, put in the label saying page number, but I want to make sure I have a box of the same size. I'll make that clear, but I'll keep the boundary. I should make that 2 pixels. And the reason I've just done this on top is so I can make sure the size is correct. Then I'll move this out the way for a second, so I can move that and put my box back in here. I'll get rid of the boundary on this, transparent, and put that here, because page numbers are really small. You literally only have a number, you don't need anything there, so I can leave that as is. And next to that I will put text. This time I don't need to use these placeholders because I'm never going to type in it. I'm just going to put in page colon, and I'll put that in here. I'm going to align it so that it shows up right next to the thing, so I'm going to change the alignment. And yeah, it's as simple as that. One last thing is you might want to put the body text placeholder, especially if you want to make sure all the pages have the same size text boxes, in just like that, and get it centered however you want it. If you want a box around it, that's your choice, but often this is changed anyway, so it's not necessary. And then all you have to do is duplicate this, and let's say I want to do, I don't know what the new rubric is exactly, but last year was identify the problem. If I do this and I want to color code it red, I will just pick this, and for a second I'm going to cut this just so I can reach, oh, let's not cut that one. I'll cut this for a second just so I can reach the back, and select both of these and set it to, let's say, this red, and then I'll put that back, and then I'll click this, put a lighter red in, and that's changed to identify the problem. Obviously this, to be honest, this is a bit dark in my opinion because it's going to be annoying to see the text, but that's something you can change for yourself and decide. This is a really simple one. There's a lot of different formats. I've seen some where you have this text down the side, where you have the page numbers down the side, names down the side, or ones where you move around things, you have identified the problem a lot smaller, or you don't even have this color coding. It's really up to you what colors you want, what design you want. I just showed you how to make a format that you can change and edit, and that way, now the good thing is, let me just rename this to identify and this to other. Obviously you do this for more slides, and I would also recommend just make a completely blank one just in case you need it. So let's just delete that. Often this is used for the title slide, and just call this blank. When you have these, if I hit the X, now when I make a new slide, some people don't have this on their computers for some reason, but you can choose which of these you want from this drop down. And if you don't have this drop down option, you go here, you go to layout, and then you have the same thing. So I can change it to identify. And what's amazing about this, if I say if I think, oh, actually this is, so I do a note to judges. Some people don't like that. Don't do it if you don't want to, but note to judges. And I realize, oh, this doesn't identify the problem. This is other. I can just click it and this will transfer across because I've copy pasted the format, so it's very similar. If I, however, made a fresh format each time and changed a lot of things, especially if I have multiple text boxes that are labeled title, that would get a bit messy. So when I change, it might move around and do some weird stuff. So try to keep it as uniform as you can in the format. You're always welcome to, if I feel like I need an image here, so let's just take this image. I want this image, and I think it should take up the whole bottom bit of actually the whole top bit of the page, and I just want to have text underneath. I can just bring this down and edit it, and I can just move this around and play with it how I want, but I have a consistent same one every time, which I find really useful when notebooking, and it saves a lot of people time, because I've seen people who genuinely made the format in this mode and then have to manually duplicate each slide, clear out all the info, so like do this, delete this, change the color, change that. It all gets a bit much and I don't think it's worth it. So this is a great way to improve your notebook, make it a lot easier. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I might be changing this from Nova to my own soon, but should mostly be robotic stuff still. Thank you. Subscribe.